Hello everyone, myself Saleha Alas, pursuing B.Ed 4th SEM in KLE Societies, Srimati Y.G. Kulgude College of Education, Athani. Today I am going to present the seminar under the guidance of Professor S.S. Nayak. The subject name is Advanced Pedagogy of Specific Subject 2. The topic of my presentation is Self-Learning Materials. Contents: Introduction, Meaning, Definition, Concept of SLM, Characteristics, Role of Teacher in SLM, Advantages, Disadvantages, and the last one, Conclusion. Let us see the introduction of self-learning materials. In distance education, we use learning materials in various forms: print, audio, video, multimedia, websites, etc. In order to help distance learners study these and learn in their own time and their own pace, these materials are designed in such a way to have the teacher built in to facilitate the learning process. We call this all the characteristics of the self-learning materials. In fact, the basic characteristics are the foundations of any distance learning materials, and any learning materials that exhibited as self-learning irrespective of their format, textual design and presentation. Let us see the meaning of self-learning materials. Self-learning materials are basically learner-centered materials. The learners usually depend on self-learning materials so they can learn on their own at a time, pace and place of their own choice. Let us see the concept of self-learning materials. Self-learning materials are written in a way that doesn't require any intermediate. Intermediate means the teacher to explain the content. This means the content is written in simple language and in small chunk to help the distance learner and assimilate the content by reading and working through the instructions. The material for self-learning can be textbooks or digital materials. Let us see the characteristics of self-learning materials. The main characteristics of self-learning materials are self-explanatory, self-contained, self-directed, self-motivating, self-evaluating, and the last one, self-learning. Let us see one by one characteristics of self-learning materials. The first one is self-explanatory. Learners can understand the concept without external support. Learners can easily understand the concept with the help of self-learning materials. The second one is self-contained. Learners do not need additional materials to understand them. It means the self-learning materials contains all the required information for the learner. The third one is self-motivating. Learners are given guidance regarding the use of materials. This means self-learning materials motivates the learner to learn with interest and on their own speed. And the fourth one is self-directed. It relates to familiar situations, makes learning meaningful and inspire learners to rise the problems. These materials develops the quality of critical thinking, reasoning among the learners. The fifth one is self-evaluating. Self-learning materials provides the lot of self-assessment questions, exercises, activities, unit end questions, etc. for evaluation and practicing feedback. The last one is self-learning. Self-learning material provides study guide, directions, hints, references, etc. to facilitate autonomous learning or self-learning with little or no support from external sources. Let us see the role of teacher in self-learning model. The first one is teacher serves as a facilitator, resource person to provide motivation and reinforcement for learning. Teacher has a crucial and deliberate role. Make a successful transition from teacher directed to self directed learning. And the third one is assessing assesses students' readiness for the method, establish the boundaries of the students' decisions about their learning. Teachers' role are the maintenance of educational standards, teaching, objective writing, and evaluation and availability to the students. This is about the role of teacher in self-learning model. The next one is advantages of self-learning materials. The first one is students learn more effectively. The second one is students discover more about the topics they are studying. It can boost student self-esteem. Students can learn at their own pace. And the fifth one is encourages curiosity. Find resources on the topic. And the last one is classwork can be scheduled around work and family. Let us see the disadvantages of self-learning model. Unmotivated learners or those with poor study habits may fall behind. Students may feel isolated or miss social interaction. Instructor may not always be available on demand. Learners with low motivation or bad study habits may fall behind. Without the routine structures of a traditional class, students may get lost or confused about course activities. Lack of interaction between learners and instructor. Format may be too structured and visually uninteresting. Is not a suitable method of instruction for all learners as who prefer social interaction and group work. Some learners find the highly structured and serial nature of this instruction tedious, boring, and time consuming to use. Let us see the conclusion for the self-learning materials. Self-learning models create an effective learning environment for the learners to learn. These contain the answers for all possible queries, confusions, and questions that may come in the mind of the learner at the time of learning. These also provide immediate feedback on the performance of the students. These also help to maintain high interest level and sufficient motivation for the learners. These self-learning models have enriched features such as self-explanatory, self-contained, self-directed, self-motivating, and self-evaluating, which help to cater to the needs of all types of learners. This all about the self-learning materials. Thank you one and all.